Alright everyone, welcome back to Tactics Ogre. How you doing there? How's everybody doing today?
And as usual, stay triggered. Pew pew. Pew.
What we're going to talk about today is setting up your classes as soon as you get started in a game. Now, I've already had a little bit of experience going forward with this, and so I'm just going to tell you what I know and what I think is good for setting up a team as far as a tactical game is concerned. Now, I've played Tactics, and I've played Brigandine, I've played a lot of tactical games. A lot of them are very similar in the way that you'd set things up, so there's not going to be too many surprises, but there could be a couple caveats going forward. But if you're trying to look at this from the get-go, you're looking at this long list of things, it looks like a ton of things to look at. Let's break down a couple things right here. So here is your equipment. We can press down and see all this stuff: consumables, arcana, skills. You can do this. Finishing moves will come later, so don't worry about that right now. Skills is your class change. You can change classes and stuff. There's inventory, and you can dismiss knights, stuff like that. But you can also just press to the right and come over here, which is what I do, and look at all this stuff. So we're going to talk about items, spells, skills, and then we're going to talk about classes as well. So I'm going to talk about your basic setup and your classes. That will be this video for today. So what I'm going to do here is look at what we got. We already have a Mendeleaf. This is a heal 75. So this is like a little potion here, if you're thinking Final Fantasy terms. And so what we want, for the most part, what you want for this game in particular, is a lot of these items right here, these things called blessing stones. They rise your fallen units that got injured, and you got a timer that goes on after that, very much like Final Fantasy Tactics. And once your timer reaches 0, after you've been incapacitated, you just die. So what you're going to want is a lot of these. Now, these things are expensive, but definitely put one on the main characters that are in your game. You can press the R and L buttons to kind of switch between characters here. You can go between guests and all that. Don't worry about setting up your guest right now. You might want to eventually give them a blessing stone, but don't worry about it right at the moment. The guests, if they get injured in battle, or before they're about to, they'll just literally zoom, 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 and they'll be gone. So you don't even have to worry about reviving them. You can heal them throughout the battle, but I wouldn't worry about reviving them so much. So for this file here, I'm starting up a new thing here, and the first thing I want to do is set up these blessing stones that we got from a couple previous battles. So I'm going to press the R1 to flip over to the next character here. Go over to the blessing stone. Most important thing, you might think these Mendeleafs are good, but the first thing I want to get is blessing stones on my main characters here. Now, we don't have one for Donna, and we don't have one for Jake, but we'll get them a couple other things here. So let's go ahead and get this. I like to put the first slot for the regen item right off the bat, because it just makes sense to me, because sometimes your guys do get injured, they do go down. The crits that can happen in this game are quite phenomenal. You'll get these little cards throughout the game that will increase your attack. Enemies can too, and sometimes you can get crit for almost 200% more damage than you should. I've seen it happen. It's absolutely insane. You're gonna definitely want those revive items, unless you don't mind buying a whole bunch of new characters. So that being said, we're just setting up our items right now. So let's go past this. Kashua is one of your is your sister essentially. Vice is your friend, and Denim is you. If you want to know more about the story, check out the previous video that I did, and you get to see kind of some of that story, unless you don't want to, and then, just play the game and you'll get to learn their story themselves. I picked Lightning Element, so I am a Lightning Elemental here. For the other characters here, I'm not going to give them any items right now. I'm going to kind of skip past that. We're going to give them some other things. Now, these other things do other things later on. I haven't gotten to the point yet to actually be able to use them where I feel it's going to be worthwhile, but I'm just going to give them a couple assortments of things just so that they have something to work with here, and just kind of move on from there. So So yeah, don't feel afraid to give your guys some extra items, because it could come into battle and you might literally need them. And then you'll be like, oh dang, I wish I would have equipped it here. Before you get into the battle, this is the time that you want to equip your items, because you're not going to be able to equip them in the battle. So be very cautious of that. Be very careful going forward with that. So I'm not going to do a bunch of drop cuts and pull out and, you know, let you see like really quick video here. I could do that, but I just don't have the time to do all that editing right now. We'll give her a charge leaf, sure, you know. And so that'll do it for our items. You can see we're kind of zeroed out on most things except for these mend leaves. I'm just going to leave them for later so that we can like restock and just have a little bit of variety there. So now let's go on to skills. Now we got all these skills here. We can see she's a priest. So there's exorcism, which is like if the undead die, they still have a timer that goes down, but they'll come back to life. So this will keep them down permanently. There's a couple other skills she'll get later, but we won't worry about that. Here is her basic healing spell, which is very important. Make sure you remember this. You're going to want healing spells for people. We're going to go on to a warrior. Warriors don't really get any spells. We're going to do a cross class really fast just so you can see what's happening here. As far as their basic skills go, you only get 4 skills. So you get this pincer attack here, which is pretty cool, which means that if there's an enemy nearby you, you got a 75% chance to do an extra attack on them, which I would highly recommend doing. Now, for this warrior guy, you got a fist skill or you got an axe skill. You can kind of choose which weapon you want to go with. We're going to stick with the axes. I'm going to get rid of the fists and add another skill here. You're going to get a whole bunch of skills going forward. You're going to have to look at what you want and then use that. Mighty Impact is, you know, does a fantastic hit. You need 40 MP to do it. You regen your MP going forward, so don't worry too much about that. You'll be okay. For her with bow skills, we don't have... Oh, we do have. Look at that. We got Tremendous Shot. This is another one of those mighty shot skills right there that will do a lot of extra damage. You're gonna really want this. So once your MP finally rolls up to 40, then you'll be able to do this. Now in this game, it's kind of like Shining Force. You can move and shoot with magic, and you can move and gain MP. There are other skills that can help boost that, but like Meditate right here for the wizard class, which you can get for some other classes too. Restores a small amount of MP. The amount of MP restored increases with rank, so that'll get better over time. And if you want to know how I'm doing this, I'm pressing the minus button or the select button that people kind of know or knew to be able to do this. Now you can go with a cudgel. Now here's a little trick I'll tell you real fast that I like to do, and I don't know if this is going to be best going forward in the future, but if we have an extra shield, which we don't, I'll give him a buckler instead of a cudgel, because then it actually gives him a little dexterity, a little avoidance, a little better penetration defense and magic defense. I like to make my mages a little more tanky. Maybe that's just me, but you can try that too, see how that works out for you. Let's see if he's got any new skills. So we got a concentration skill that we gained. We just were given it to start, so grant spell strike to the caster. So that does spell strike, which I believe helps with attack. I haven't really looked into this too much. We're just going over a basic tutorial here, but this is still a good skill to have. We'll come back to that later. Hopefully, remind me of that. But yeah, those are the basic skills he gets. So going forward, worrying about what you want to do. He has an air skill. You could get other magical skills, but other elemental skills besides dark or light are probably not going to matter as much as his basic element, whatever his element is. And this element is air, and it's that symbol up there. If I could point to it, it's that symbol up there with the little yellow V, or the little yellow tail shape, whatever that shape could be. I don't know what that shape's called, but that yellow shape that's next to the wizard right up there in the middle of the screen, that is air elemental. So kind of want to keep him with a lot of air elemental. You can change his element later on, So if you want him to be a different element to be better, then change his element. But all you got to worry about is the element that he is. So let's move on here. So we got Donna, who's a cleric. She has Awaken, which is remove sleep and charm, which is pretty cool. Can we get an exorcism skill here? No, we don't have exorcism yet. We have to buy another one or find it in the battlefield. Let's see if she's got any other skills we can put on. Well, not anything right now. She's a new unit. And here's Jake Pliskin. Jake Pliskin, if you're watching out there, I'm going to make you a rune fencer now for this team here. And as you can see, he has lightning bow, which is a magical skill, and he also has a heal spell. Pretty fantastic, right? Well, anyways, he has a heal spell as a rune fencer, or a Valkyrie would be the female version of this. You get a spear, as you can see on the left there. You're holding it with two hands. That's what that emblem is there for equipment. Over there on the, I wish I could point. I should just, I'm gonna draw on the screen in the future, so it'll be a little easier. But you get this lightning bow skill right off the bat with a rune fencer, and it's conjunct with your element right there. So you see the knight right up there, Jake Pliskin, the character, and the bolt, the purple bolt next to him. That just says that he's good with lightning spells. So you can do lightning attacks, you can do physical attacks, and you can do heal attacks with a rune fencer, which is fantastic. Let's see if we got any other skills we could equip here. We could make him a bow guy, a crossbow guy, give him a hammer or cudgel, you know, whatever you want to do with that. Okay, and now we're back to Denim. So now we got a couple things here. He doesn't. Warriors really don't get any spells, unfortunately. They kind of have a growth in a lot of things here. You can see all the equipment we could give them. We could give him, let's see, if I press this one button, if I hold down Y and I press to the right, we can see different things that the warriors can have. So we can kind of see what the warrior could equip and what they can't equip. So they can equip an axe, because that little symbol, that little icon there on the top left for the characters has a circle next to it. So circle means yes, X means no. Very much like what we should expect. So they can also be fist guys. They cannot hold staffs. They can hold a bow, but they cannot hold a spear. And they can also hold what's called a sticker, which is just a dagger. But what we're going to do here real fast, we're not going to make it a too long video. We're going to show you a couple classes that you can change into, and that'll be fun. So if you want to get to this, you just press left and right, up and down, and you kind of get there. So you want to change to a class. You want to gain some more skills. You want to become a little stronger and stuff. What I'm going to do at the first part is I'm going to make my main character a knight, get him a few knight skills, and then I'm going to put him into the Berserker class, because I'd like to have some possible heals. Knights comes with heals. So we're going to go here and change his class here. He's going to, you know, go into the Superman phone booth and change. And he doesn't actually change his look because he's like a main character, but he is now a knight. And it says right up there next to Denim number 1, level 3 knight on the top left. And so now you know he's a knight. So now he's a knight, we could give him a lot of stuff. So you can have a sword and all that. We can give him a shield, which I kind of want to do. And you notice that I didn't give him a sword. I want to try a hammer. I want to try to level up a hammer. I want to see how good they are. I'm so used to going with swords in most games. I like swords. I have fun with them. But I kind of want to go medieval and have a shield and a hammer and bonk on the enemy pretty hard. So I'm going to do that. Here it shows you with this, you're looking at this, like, what's the hammer bonk and the spear thing? What's that all about? Well, that tells you, like, this helmet, like my hat, if that was my hat, it would be good at bonking and good at spear strikes. It might have some resistance to that, I believe. Let's check that real fast. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself, but from what it looks like, yeah. So what it says right here, if you press the select button on your controller here, you can open up all these pop-ups. All these little lights will pop up. If you want to see anything at all, you just go over and hover over it and get there. I'm not going to go into detailed explanation right here. Maybe I will in a later video. But this helmet protects from crushing, you know, bonking, like crushing the helmet, and not resistant to slashing, so can get slashed pretty easily, but piercing right up here. So if there is piercing, it is kind of resistant to that too. I probably shouldn't use my hat as a reference because it will get destroyed. You can also see that if the helmet or the gear actually protects from elementals here, it will actually show you that. It will even say if it's resistant to beast attacks and divine attacks, angels. Apparently there's a lot of stuff in here. There's humans, there's dragons, there's fairies, there's phantoms or skellies, angels, beast attacks, which would be griffin. There's also like golems, umbras, which I haven't even fought yet. I have no idea what that is, and reptile attacks. So that's what some of that is. And you can look at all that stuff. You press the square, or you press, yeah, well, it would be PlayStation Square. You hold the Y and you press left and right to see all this stuff, and you can see all these things that can be with that. So that's pretty much that, but we changed to a knight, which is pretty good. So let's not make this a really long video. All right, so heal spell. Now it's showing that I can have a heal spell. Let's just click on it real fast. So here's the trick. I can just click circle on it real fast if I don't know if I can equip it, and it says the item is currently equipped, which means that I can equip it, but I don't have one to equip because my inventory shows a 0 right there. So that means that I can have that, I can have exorcism. Let's see if I can get Deadshot as a knight, right? Because it's showing it right here. So I'll press circle. Now it's telling me this class cannot equip this item. So if it says it cannot equip it, you just can't equip it, no matter what. But if it says something like this, well, that's the same thing there. So cannot equip exorcism. But if I click this and I still don't have it, it says currently equipped, none in inventory, which means you can equip this. I know knights have heals. I don't believe they can do a whole lot else. They can't really do other spells. It's just a basic heal, which is actually pretty good going forward. So what I would have to say is having a couple of frontliners that can do heals in your party is quite essential going forward. So let's see now what new skills we can get with this. So we actually obtained some new spells or skills. Pincer attack here. That's a good one. You definitely want that one. That's a really good one. Now we got to back out, move over here, and go into Rampart Aura. Now this is the same thing that's in Brigandine, and it's the basic skill of as soon as you're touching the enemy, it's kind of hard to get a, well, maybe Battle Brothers would be a better example, I would have to say. Yeah, Battle Brothers would be a better example. Once you're touching the enemy, trying to get away from them is kind of hard. Usually in Battle Brothers, they do a counterattack. Here, you don't get to do a counterattack, but it does halt the enemy movement, as it states right up above. We're going to put that on, and now we got Denim as a knight. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so let's move over and make somebody else a knight. I don't typically go with the warrior class, but you know, there is that skill there. I don't know if the knights get the mighty impact skill. But I kind of want a knight, to be honest. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go right for it, just make him a knight, because Wyatt sounds like he'd be a good knight anyways. We're gonna do Berserker later, but right now Berserker is just more strength and doesn't have any other skills to it. I kind of like going into battles having some versatility. So we're gonna go ahead and make him a knight. Alright, so he's actually going to change to a class of knight because he's just a basic soldier. So he's not a story soldier, so he's easy to see with that. We lost that skill, as you can see. We lost that Mighty Strike ability, which kind of sucks, I'll be honest. But we gained a Rampant Aura, which halts the enemy movement. So once you see this little cross around them, the enemy has a hard time getting by, which is a good thing. Because then if they try to come after your squishy mages, they can't get by. They're kind of stuck there. So if it has the opportunity to equip it and we can equip it, let's do that. So he's set to axes. That's good. We got Louisa with an archer skill. We're going to keep her there. I don't know if there's anything else. We could make her, instead of that, we could make her a crossbow user. So I'm going to go ahead and just instill that anyways, just in case we want to do that. Merlin's going to stay as a wizard. Donna is going to just... We could give her a hammer and make her bonk people too. I guess if we find one, yeah, if we find one, we'll do that. Okay. And then Jake could be sword. It could be this. Pretty much almost anything. I like the spear because it has 2 range of attack. So spear is 2 range forward. So you can hit 2 people in a straight line. And that's quite fantastic. Just be careful if your guy is there too. But that's pretty much the basic explanation of some stuff. Now, you might be like, what's finishing moves trigger? Tell me all about that. Well, okay. We don't have any at the beginning. It's going to take a few battles before you even get one. And I think they kind of randomly come, or you might be able to get it with a card. There's cards that are going to appear on the battlefield. There are a lot of blue cards. They're all really good to have. You want to try to get it if you can. But if you have an attack you have to do, I guess you got to do what you got to do. But you'll get that later. So as far as the spells goes, we have to go out and buy a spell. And you got to go to a town, go buy the spell in a town, and then have at it. But that's going to have to do it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. I'm going to kind of include some helpful stuff along with my playthrough of this game. So it's going to go helpful playthrough, or something like that. So I'm going to show you the battles I go through, show you how I do it, and I hope you enjoy it. If you've already played this game before and you know an immense amount of material more than I do, please leave some comments down below. I'm just trying to be as helpful as I can and get out the right kind of information. But I will have some of my own caveats as far as my own particular playstyle, as far as how I've played strategy games in the past, in the future. And I'm a big proponent of Final Fantasy Tactics and Brigandine. If you watched either of them, you're going to see a lot of them on my channel. So maybe subscribe. Maybe you want to do that. But yeah, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if there's something that I missed that I could cover in the future, and I will go over that. But, well, anyways, if you want to be a Knight of Trigaria, you know what you got to do. I'll see you later. Thanks for coming by.